Retirement, it used to be a simple decision, but these days, planning where to live when you pull up stumps has never been more complicated. So we've searched the length and breadth of Australia to make the job easier and find you some very affordable hidden gems.
Couldn't imagine living anywhere else at all.
Living here is easy.
When we found this, that was it.
If it's a sea change you're after, or an acre of land up bush, it pays to listen to retirees who've been there, done that in every single Australian state, like Johnny and Irene Bulmer.
We haven't joined anything yet, but we don't seem to have the time.
They've always got the view from their porch to compensate. Croft the dog doesn't mind chasing a stick around the crystal clear waters. Yep, it's tough all right.
The lake, the serenity, it's like the Riviera.
Like hundreds of other retirees, the Bulmers headed 4 hours east of Melbourne to the Gippsland region, and one of the most popular and affordable towns is Paynesville.
Yeah, today's retirees are very different. They have far higher expectations as to how their retirement life will look.
Mark McCrindle's a social researcher who says retirees who know exactly what they want are ahead of the pack.
Well, value for money is the number one thing. They want to end up in a picturesque place with some good lifestyle, a nicer house than they perhaps had, and a little money left over for a rainy day as well.
Neither of us are beach people.
But John and Christine Henderson knew exactly what they were after when they went in search of a place to retire.
A lot of the coastal places, you've got holiday houses and people are coming and going, and it's very busy, whereas this is a stable community and you get to be part of it.
So after looking at 150 homes within 3 hours of Sydney, they finally settled inland at Singleton in the Hunter Valley.
Christine loves gardening, so we'd probably spend 2 or 3 days a week in the garden, 2 or 3 days a week on the house.
But when they do get out and about, there's always the golf, or if the mood takes them, the wineries. All at a fraction of the cost of living in Sydney, but close to relatives too.
We've got a wonderful library in Singleton. We have a 10-pin bowling alley in Singleton.
Good library.
I just said that, darling.
Sorry.
We might leave the Hendersons there and head to Queensland, where the Sunshine Coast is where it's at, in townships like Mooloolaba, where we find Nola and Jeff Howlett, who moved here 6 years ago from Adelaide.
The difficult part was making the decision. Once we made the decision, we were very happy.
And they've never looked back, lapping up the waterside lifestyle. Not only that, but Jeff's a regular at the local bowls club, outside and in.
We get a very reasonable meal, 2 for $20 at night, and the wine's a reasonable price also.
They want a place with a little bit of a buzz, some cafes and restaurants and places to go and do, and they're looking for infrastructure.
Back in Victoria, Faye and Ivan Thompson have joined the flood heading east.
Here was so peaceful, so quiet, no more rush, no more hurry for the city.
Faye's vice president of the Bowls Club in a town renowned for its canals and laid-back lifestyle, but where the waterfront property is a fraction of big city prices.
The cheapest in Australia that you can get, that you can have absolute waterfront housing.
Kadri Kutt from the local tourism group says Paynesville's $1 million views speak for themselves, and the secret's getting out, with construction going through the roof and plenty of activities for our more senior sits.
There's lots of social groups, there's adult education classes, craft, art galleries, movie theatres, shopping. It's basically, you've got everything within this area.
So where else in Australia should retirees consider? In Tasmania, the beautiful Huon and Tamar valleys have become popular for their laid-back lifestyles and sheer beauty. But it's the east coast township of St Helens that's the real hotspot right now.
It's a very small place, 2,000 people, but it's very picturesque. It's a boating and fishing mecca, and it's a few hours from Launceston and indeed Hobart.
In South Australia, the so-called Copper Triangle, including towns like Wallaroo, tick most of the boxes for retirees, as does Victor Harbour with its proximity to Adelaide. But it's Robe in the far southeast of the state which is number one with the over 55s.
It's on the bay, it's got the boating opportunities, nice lifestyle there, but also good price.
In Western Australia, Margaret River might have become more pricey these days, but the region itself is still a favourite, while Mandurah is home to one of the fastest growing retirement communities in Australia. But it's Albany and Denmark, another 3 hours drive away, which are the real coastal favourites.
And they're nice places on the coast with a lot to do, but good value in terms of what you can get for your money.
No matter where you choose, most who have made the move all have one thing in common. They wish they'd done it years ago.
We find this place pretty good.
Do it real quick.
Yeah.
Because it's growing so fast down here.
We don't have noisy neighbours, no wild parties or anything like they do in the city.